Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're diving into something that has netizens absolutely buzzing, and honestly it's one of the most impressive demonstrations of pure vocal talent that we've seen in recent performances. We're talking about JUNGKOOK's recent Tokyo Dome concert, where he proved beyond any doubt that his live vocals are the real deal, that he doesn't need backing tracks or studio enhancement to deliver a flawless performance, and that what you hear when he performs live is genuinely his voice in all its stable, controlled, and beautiful glory. If you've ever been curious about what separates truly exceptional live performers from those who rely heavily on studio production and backing tracks, this is the perfect case study. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we're about to break down exactly what happened at the Tokyo Dome, why netizens are calling this a pure live performance, and how JUNGKOOK manages to maintain such incredible stability and quality even without the safety net of backing tracks that many artists rely on. Let me start by explaining what we mean when we talk about a pure live performance and why this designation matters so much in the context of modern concerts and live music. In today's music industry, it's actually quite common for artists to perform with significant backing track support during concerts. This doesn't necessarily mean they're not singing at all, but rather that there are pre-recorded vocal layers playing underneath their live singing that fill out the sound, cover any imperfections, provide harmony, and essentially make the live performance sound more like the polished studio recording that fans are familiar with. There's nothing inherently wrong with using backing tracks. Many artists across all genres use them to varying degrees, but the distinction between a performance with heavy backing track reliance and a pure live performance where the artist is genuinely singing everything you hear in real time is significant, and it showcases a different level of vocal ability and confidence. What happened at JUNGKOOK's Tokyo Dome concert is that netizens who attended and those who watched footage from the show specifically noted that his performance could be classified as pure live, meaning that while there may have been minimal instrumental backing or very light support, the vocal performance itself was genuinely live without the safety net of pre-recorded vocals playing underneath. This is particularly notable in several specific moments and songs from the concert, and netizens have been analyzing footage and audio to demonstrate exactly why they're making this claim. The evidence they're pointing to includes things like ad-libs and vocal variations that don't exist in the studio versions, moments where his voice can be heard adjusting in real time to the acoustics of the venue, instances of spontaneous laughter or vocal play that wouldn't be possible if he were lip-syncing or heavily relying on backing tracks, and overall the natural, alive quality of the performance that you can only get when someone is genuinely singing in the moment. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence for the pure live nature of this performance is the fact that JUNGKOOK added ad-libs and variations throughout the concert that simply don't exist in the studio recordings of these songs. When you're performing with heavy backing track reliance, you're essentially locked into following the pre-recorded vocal pattern because you need to stay synchronized with what's playing. You can't really deviate or improvise because you'll end up creating a clash between what's pre-recorded and what you're adding live. But when you're performing truly live, you have complete freedom to modify, improvise, add flourishes, change melodies slightly, extend notes, or add vocal runs wherever you feel inspired in the moment. Netizens noted that JUNGKOOK was doing exactly this throughout the Tokyo Dome show, adding spontaneous ad-libs, modifying vocal lines, and bringing variations to songs that made them feel fresh and different from the studio versions, even though the songs themselves were familiar. Let's talk specifically about the Dynamite intro that netizens highlighted, because this is a perfect example of what pure live vocals sound like. The observation was that during the introduction of Dynamite, there was clearly no additional vocal layering, no thick backing track creating a wall of sound, just JUNGKOOK's actual voice in real time. And here's what's remarkable about it: despite the absence of all that studio production and backing track support, his voice remained stable and relaxed. He wasn't straining, he wasn't struggling, he wasn't showing signs of vocal fatigue or instability. He was just comfortably and confidently delivering the vocals with the same quality you'd expect from a studio recording, but doing it live without assistance. That level of stability without backing track support is actually quite difficult to achieve, and it speaks to both natural vocal talent and years of training and performance experience. Now let's address the question that forms the title of this video: how does JUNGKOOK maintain such stability without backing tracks? What are the technical and practical factors that allow him to deliver this kind of consistent, high-quality live vocal performance? First and foremost, it comes down to fundamental vocal technique and training. JUNGKOOK didn't just wake up one day able to sing like this. He's been training his voice since his teenage years, developing proper breath support, learning to control his vocal placement, understanding how to use his diaphragm effectively, building stamina and endurance, and essentially treating his voice as an instrument that requires maintenance, practice, and skillful technique. When you have solid technical foundation, when you understand how to properly support your voice and control your breathing, you don't need backing tracks to sound stable because the stability comes from your technique rather than from technological enhancement. Breath support is absolutely crucial to stable live singing, and it's one of the things that separates trained vocalists from untrained ones. When you have proper breath support, you're able to sustain notes without wavering, you can maintain consistent tone quality throughout long phrases, you have the power and control to hit challenging notes reliably, and you don't run out of air mid-phrase which would cause instability or force you to take awkward breaths that interrupt the flow of the song. Based on what netizens observed in the Tokyo Dome performance, JUNGKOOK's breath support was clearly excellent throughout the show, allowing him to maintain that stable, controlled sound even during physically demanding choreography and extended vocal passages. Another factor that contributes to his stability is his understanding of how to pace himself throughout a concert. A full concert can be vocally exhausting. You're singing for extended periods, often while dancing and moving around the stage, and if you approach every song at maximum intensity from the beginning, you'll fatigue your voice and lose stability as the show progresses. Experienced live performers know how to modulate their energy, when to push and when to pull back slightly, how to deliver emotional impact without necessarily straining their voice, and how to preserve their vocal stamina so they can maintain quality from the first song to the last. The fact that netizens describe JUNGKOOK as stable and relaxed suggests that he understands this pacing and isn't oversinging or forcing his voice in ways that would lead to fatigue and instability. There's also something to be said for confidence and mental state when it comes to live vocal performance. When you're nervous or unsure, it actually affects your voice physically because tension manifests in your throat and vocal cords, which can compromise your tone quality and stability. Conversely, when you're confident and relaxed, when you trust your training and your ability, your voice tends to function more freely and naturally. The description of JUNGKOOK as relaxed during the performance suggests that he's in that mental space where he trusts his voice and isn't fighting against nervousness or tension, which allows his natural ability and training to shine through. Let me talk about the viral moment where JUNGKOOK laughed in the middle of singing because this actually provides additional evidence of the pure live nature of his performance, and it also demonstrates something beautiful about his approach to live shows. The fact that he was comfortable enough to laugh spontaneously while singing, that he wasn't so rigidly focused on perfect execution that he couldn't have a natural, joyful moment, shows that this was genuinely live and unscripted. If you're lip-syncing or heavily dependent on backing tracks, you can't really afford to have those spontaneous moments because you need to stay synchronized with what's pre-recorded. But when you're genuinely singing live with confidence in your ability, you have the freedom to be spontaneous, to laugh, to interact naturally with the audience, to let personality and emotion come through, and that's exactly what JUNGKOOK was doing. Netizens described this laughing moment as making the performance feel more natural and alive, and I think that's such an important observation because it highlights what makes live music special in the first place. The appeal of live performance isn't just hearing the songs you love, it's experiencing them in a unique moment that can never be exactly replicated, it's seeing the artist's personality and humanity shine through, it's those unexpected moments of joy or emotion that make the experience feel real and connected. When JUNGKOOK laughed in the middle of singing, he wasn't undermining the performance, he was actually enhancing it by making it feel authentic and alive rather than mechanical or overly polished. There's a specific characteristic that netizens mentioned which they call JUNGKOOK's signature style, and this is worth exploring because it speaks to what makes his live performances distinctive and special. They noted that he has this ability to take songs that exist as recorded tracks and bring them to life in a more emotional and impactful way when he performs them live. This isn't just about singing the notes correctly or matching the studio version, it's about adding emotional depth, bringing fresh interpretation, using vocal dynamics and expression in ways that might not be possible or appropriate in a studio recording but that work beautifully in a live setting where you can read the room and feed off the audience's energy. This ability to make recorded songs more emotional in a live context comes from several factors. First, there's the element of physical presence and seeing the artist actually performing in front of you, which adds emotional impact that recorded music can't provide. Second, there's the improvisation and variation we mentioned earlier where the artist can modify the performance based on the moment, perhaps emphasizing certain lyrics differently, adding vocal runs in places that feel right for the live energy, or adjusting the emotional intensity based on how the audience is responding. Third, there's the genuine emotion and energy that comes from performing for a live audience, which can elevate a performance beyond what's possible in a studio where you're recording take after take in isolation. The netizen observation that Jungkook's live performances feel more emotional and impactful than the studio recordings suggests that he understands how to harness all these factors, that he's not just technically reproducing the studio version but actively reinterpreting and enhancing the songs for the live context. That's an artistic skill that goes beyond just vocal ability. It requires musical intelligence, emotional awareness, and understanding of performance dynamics. Let's talk about what this pure live Tokyo Dome performance means in terms of Jungkook's credibility as a vocalist, because in an era where there's sometimes skepticism about which artists can really sing live versus which ones are heavily dependent on studio production and live enhancement, demonstrating pure live ability matters. When you prove that you can deliver stable, high-quality vocals without backing track assistance, you're essentially putting your talent on full display with nowhere to hide. Every note you sing is genuinely your voice in that moment, every imperfection would be audible, every vocal choice is made in real time. The fact that Jungkook is willing and able to perform this way speaks to his confidence in his vocal ability and his commitment to giving audiences an authentic live music experience. There's also something to be said for the respect this earns from both fans and industry professionals. Audiences can tell the difference between a heavily produced live show where the artist is mostly performing to backing tracks and a genuine live vocal performance, and there's a special appreciation for artists who deliver the latter. It shows respect for the audience by giving them a real performance rather than something that's essentially just a more elaborate version of listening to the recorded track. It demonstrates artistic integrity and commitment to the craft of live performance. And it establishes credibility as a serious vocalist rather than just someone who sounds good in the studio with enough production. The netizen comments about this performance being nearly flawless are also worth considering, because perfection isn't actually the goal or the appeal of live music. What makes live performance valuable is the humanity of it, the fact that it's happening in real time with all the variables and unpredictability that entails. A performance can be slightly imperfect in technical terms, maybe there's a breath that's audible or a note that's fractionally less polished than the studio version, but still be extraordinary as a piece of live music because of the energy, emotion, and authenticity it delivers. When netizens describe Jungkook's Tokyo performance as nearly flawless, they're not saying it was robotically perfect, they're saying it achieved what great live performance should achieve, delivering high-quality vocals with emotional impact and authentic presence. The description of his visual presentation as clean and fresh at the Japan shows is interesting because it speaks to the overall package of what makes a memorable live performance. Yes, vocal ability is crucial, but the complete experience of seeing an artist live includes visual elements, stage presence, how they carry themselves, their interaction with the audience, the energy they bring. The fact that netizens are noting both his vocal delivery and his visual presentation suggests that Jungkook is bringing his full artistic effort to these performances, paying attention to all the elements that create a compelling live show. I want to talk about why this topic of pure live performance and backing tracks has become such a point of discussion and analysis among K-pop fans and netizens in general. Part of it stems from the fact that K-pop as an industry has such a strong emphasis on polished perfection, and sometimes that emphasis can lead to heavy reliance on technological enhancement during live performances. There's nothing inherently wrong with using technology to enhance performances, but it does create a distinction between artists who can deliver with minimal enhancement and those who need significant support. Fans and netizens have become quite sophisticated in their ability to analyze performances and identify what's genuinely live versus what's enhanced or pre-recorded, and there's a special appreciation for artists who can prove their live vocal ability. This analysis culture has led to moments like what we're seeing with Jungkook's Tokyo Dome performance, where specific instances of pure live vocals are identified, discussed, and celebrated because they demonstrate authentic ability. It's not about tearing down artists who use more backing track support, it's about recognizing and appreciating those who can perform at a high level without it. And for Jungkook, having this recognition from netizens who are specifically noting the pure live quality of his Tokyo performance adds to his credibility and reputation as a serious vocalist. Let me circle back to the original question one more time because I want to make sure we've fully answered it. How does Jungkook maintain stability without backing tracks? The answer is multifaceted. It's technical training and proper vocal technique that provides the foundation for stable singing. It's breath support and control that allows him to sustain notes and maintain consistent tone quality. It's physical stamina and understanding of how to pace himself through a full concert. It's confidence and mental state that allows his voice to function freely without tension. It's years of performance experience that have taught him how to navigate live singing in various conditions. It's musical intelligence that helps him make smart choices about when to push and when to conserve vocal energy, and it's genuine love for performing that comes through in the joy and authenticity of his stage presence. All of these factors combine to create a performer who can walk out on a stage at Tokyo Dome, sing an entire concert with minimal backing track support, maintain vocal stability and quality throughout, add spontaneous ad-libs and variations, laugh in the middle of songs because he's genuinely enjoying himself, and leave audiences and netizens talking about how impressive and authentic the performance was. That's not something that happens by accident, it's the result of talent, training, dedication, and artistic commitment. For fans and ARMY watching these performances, there's a special satisfaction in knowing that what they're experiencing is genuine, that the artist they love and support can truly deliver at the highest level without technological crutches, that the talent they believed in all along is proven and demonstrated in the most transparent way possible. Pure live performance creates a connection between artist and audience that's different from heavily produced shows because everyone in the venue knows they're experiencing something real and unrepeatable, a genuine moment of musical creation happening right there in that space. As we wrap up, I want to emphasize that this discussion isn't about diminishing other artists or suggesting that everyone needs to perform the way JUNGKOOK does. Different artists have different strengths and different approaches to live performance, and there's room for various styles and methods in the music industry. But when an artist demonstrates the ability to deliver pure live vocals with stability and quality, when they show that they can perform without the safety net that backing tracks provide, it deserves recognition and appreciation because it's genuinely impressive and it represents a high standard of live performance ability. The Tokyo Dome performance that we've been discussing represents one of those moments where JUNGKOOK's vocal ability was on full display, where netizens could clearly identify and appreciate the pure live quality of his singing, and where his stability without backing track support proved beyond doubt that his talent is authentic and his training is solid. Whether you're a longtime fan who already believed in his abilities or someone who's just discovering his work, this performance offers compelling evidence of what makes him such a respected vocalist in the industry. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this breakdown of JUNGKOOK's pure live performance and want to see more content analyzing K-pop vocals and live performance quality, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it informative, and let me know in the comments what you think about pure live vocals versus backing track supported performances. Do you appreciate when artists perform without heavy backing tracks? Have you noticed JUNGKOOK's live vocal stability in other performances? I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'll see you in the next video.